Last week, a demo from Nos. Today, looks like we might have someone to do a demo.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Dawid Lamperski. I'm from Poland, and I joined today to present what I've built recently, which is dynamic fields. And that's it.
Thank you. You can have very soon the status, which should be quick. David.
I think so.
And topics. I see we have Victoria. Do we have a topic, Victoria?
Yes, I joined that. I wanted to share that I just updated the website with all of our speakers. Can you show it on the screen, please?
What's the URL? Orchard, Harvest.
No, it's orchardcore.net/harvest.
Oh, .net/harvest.
Yes.
I'm glad I booked my ticket on time. Run tickets, hotel, team speakers. Oh, it's too big. Is it me or is it? No, that's it. Okay, that's me. New faces. Is this a conference? Yeah. I know this guy. I know this guy. I know this guy.
All the new faces as well. And I will, from tomorrow, I will share one topic each day as well. So
wow,
you can get even more excited about the conference. And we still have the early bird tickets. You can find it on the website as well. But I also share it in other platforms as well.
Okay, thank you. Speakers list.
Thank you.
You want a beard? No, okay. Yes, it. Thank you, Victoria, for your bit.
Thank you.
What do we have then? We got speakers list. Right here. Status. Here. One. Nothing new. Also, not much. We have Mike who worked, and George, and Antoine. So, Mike, add pattern to TextField. Do you want to do a demo? Maybe you're not ready for a demo. You are not ready to speak about a demo. That's okay. Don't even hear what we are saying. So add pattern to TextField. So this is a new feature that's now in the TextField settings.
Sorry, can you hear me
yeah,
now?
Yeah.
I just had issues with the mic. I couldn't respond.
Okay.
I don't want to do a demo, or I'm not ready to do a demo, but it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so I continue my explanation, or you want to do it?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, and then you correct me because you own the thing. So from what I understood, and when I read the code and we reviewed that and triage and design and discuss, so TextField settings, it has now a pattern property the same way as the title part, right? So refactoring there based on your understanding. And so pattern, and how you want to apply the pattern. Pattern is for the user to define what the value of the field should be based on anything else, because it's a liquid template, liquid pattern. So you can do anything you want with that. If you can do it in liquid, you can fill the value of the field. So it's in the settings. So when you edit the field, then you can change how the field will behave when it's edited, only edited. Field behavior type, which is here, editable, generated, disabled, and generated hidden. So the default is editable, meaning users can define the value of the field. And it's backward compatible. This is what the fields do today. You can edit the field. Then, if you say you want to use the pattern in the UI, so let's look at the HTML. You should have a text box somewhere. It's in the text field, settings, edit. What is that here? You should have a new text box or drop down. So a new drop down. Let me merge this in. How do I merge that? Okay, what is it? A new drop down model types here. Okay, type, and then you will see editable, generated disabled, and generated hidden. So if you want to generate it disabled, it means that the pattern will be applied and you will be able to see the value, but you won't be able to change it. And generated hidden means you won't be able to see what was generated. It's like a hidden field, but you can compute the value of the field and access it. Then this field was done just so we can prove the behavior or the feature works on a simple field, the text field, but the goal is to be able to do it on most of the other fields, where it makes sense, where there is some value to generate it. So you also updated the other editors that we provide. When it makes sense, right? Because some of them can't have the pattern, doesn't make sense. Example, solution mail would work, but which one is it? Which is one that will not work with the pattern?
I think the color, I think one of them. Yeah, I guess not color, never mind. This one.
I don't remember how it was working, because I remember we noticed it, but
So an icon builder here, we just create a hidden. I guess it doesn't make sense. Like in this case, if you want icon picker, but you don't want it to be hidden, or you want it to be generated, then you would just keep the default editor and just specify whatever value you want. You can't have an editor, icon picker, but you don't want them to be able to pick from it.
So what's happening is that it's still generated, the value is generated, but the picker won't show up in this case. So we just hide the field completely because there is nothing. Yeah, maybe it should be displayed as, well, if it's disabled, it should maybe still show up as disabled. So you could see the color, but you can't select the value. That's can be an improvement done later. So here right now it's just generating a hidden text field. So the field will be generated from the pattern, but you won't be able to see what's the generated value. but maybe we would want to do the generative disable to still show the picker, but in a disabled way, like you can't pick another value. That might be interesting. It's something to follow. Yeah, but yeah, so the idea is that for each editor now, handle the new setting. You see here in this case, it's good because if it's hidden, then it's a hidden field. If it's just disabled, or yeah, if it's just disabled, then the field is disabled. So you can still see the value that is generated, but you can't edit it. So yeah, that's a good way to do that. That's interesting. And the main thing is the handler, which will resolve the liquid template manager to take the pattern into account. So get the settings. If there is a pattern, then render the pattern using the content item property, that's the one that is currently being edited, and assign the value. This is opinionated to trim the result. Maybe some spaces might be generated in the pattern that you might want. Because in Liquid, you could say don't generate the spaces if you don't want them. So that's safe for now, but yeah, that's maybe unexpected. Cool. That looks good. So maybe next week demo when you're ready. Should be an easy one, and probably new PR.
I can if you want a demo, I can probably create one real quick.
That should be easy. Just if you have it installed on main, then
I'll set something up while you're reviewing.
Yep, I will go and review other commits and the background will do something. Good, thank you. Refactor Monaco editor initialization of flow and close and bands. When you have multiple Monaco editors on the same screen,
this is a really old issue. If you use a Monaco editor, it doesn't work in flows and backs at all, because they are rendered on the server dynamically, and the scripts are executed later after the document is ready.
So now it's working.
Yes.
Did you figure out the question I had last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember, about Monaco versus Code Mirror? I know that I said something about why do we...
Yeah, we use Liquid in Code Mirror in some cases, and in others we use Monaco, but okay. This is unrelated.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That is safe. Good. Elasticsearch response to search results. Oh, that's the special class in Elasticsearch, search response in the result, so you can have access to more things.
Yeah, because the way how we do it today, we have a way to return documents, but in some cases, you might want to query other things from Elastic that are not document, like for example, aggregation. So that won't return documents. So we'll give you the raw response, and then if you need more information, or if you have a custom way of querying Elastic, then you can do that.
And it's an Elasticsearch specific type that is changed, so that's fine. It's inside the world of Elasticsearch. Cool. For an exception. And the part is not found. Context, text field, and so it's just when you are editing the field from a part that has been removed in the editor.
We talked about this. You should never reach this far. So instead of having to create it manually, in that case, we'll just get a throw exception because it should never have gotten this far.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to hide that. Okay, cool. Crowding screenshot. Ooh, nice Steve. So this is a new UI. It is reflected in I remember it. UI. Okay, updated the doc. Translations. Elasticsearch client, minor update automatic, and Docker images. All good. Mike, because you will have the quickest demo.
My PC haven't even built the project yet. It's running super slow. I guess, okay, now it's coming up.
Still away. You have a dumb static field. David has a super dynamic field.
Well, if someone has another demo, let them go first.
Yeah, David. Are you ready, David, to share?
Sure. Let me share my screen.
We can see.
Great. So let's start with content types. I've already installed what's needed. So recipe is run already, and we have some predefined fields. So let's edit one of them. Which one do you want to?
So first, some context.
Some context. Okay. Dynamic field. It's a field which allow you to build new editors for CMS without touching or chat at all. Once you install dynamic field, you can add as many dynamic fields to the project, and it's very similar to editor which we already know, like JS Fiddle, CodePen, or something. So let me open it quickly, and I will show you. Here we have section when we need to add all those dependencies to our editor, like CSS, JS, some custom JavaScript to communicate between leaflet and our dynamic field, and also some styling, which is not needed, but I've added it. Also, we have here the preview. So once you will change something here, it should be already reflected here. So you don't need to save changes and check how your editor looks like. What else? Since last 5 years, I've built many of those editors, and I realized that all my editors have something in common. And to be honest, I realized that I don't need to build every time everything from scratch. And I decided to extract some part of code and build something which was called dynamic field. And here you can check if your field works. For example, I can change this marker, save the state, reload the field, and check if restore state will work, just to so we can make sure if everything works as expected. And then when we save the editor and go to real content item, now we can be sure that this editor will work because we already checked inside content type that everything is working as expected, so the state is preserved. So yes, in short, this is dynamic field. As an example, I've prepared many of ready-to-use integrations just to show you how you can build your own dynamic fields. I think that's all. We can go deeper, but
then I will try to rephrase what you did, because it's so obvious to you that it might be not obvious how to explain it to all users. So today in Orchard Core, we have like 15 things, and these are static ones. As compared to your dynamic field, they are static, meaning when we change them, we have to build the project and restart. Right? And what you did is a field that is built once, compiled once, but when it's available in the admin, then you can configure the editor when you edit a content item, and maybe also and the visualization, also the front end, all from the admin. So this way you don't have to create new types of fields in code. You can just say, I want a dynamic field, and here is how you would edit it, and here is how you will display it. Okay, so I think that's the goal of your field.
Yes, exactly.
Then here in this list, it's a content type. Okay, it's a content. It's a content type in which you've added 10 different fields of the same type, but each of them has a different configuration. So if you take a simple, what's the simplest one you can pick, for instance?
The simplest one is, I think, maybe this one.
So this is the dynamic field type. And this screen here is common to all your fields that you've added. It's a list of resources. So the JavaScript that you want to load on the editor, right? The code that will be the editor, the HTML rendered in the editor. And then what do we have?
And we have a JS file which has inside a web component or web element specification. It's placed inside scripts examples because it's in the project here. I prepared a few examples, and this is one of them. So if we will open it, you can find that it's simply class, which extends HTML element. Here it doesn't use it doesn't use shadow DOM. And here is the content of the element and the logic. It was placed here as a JS file because I realized that we can use it simply by selecting a file. We don't need to copy paste inline script.
It could reference a media item.
Could you read it?
Can it reference a media item?
Media item. Media item. You can build something. You can build something similar. You already have an example, which is simple image gallery.
What I mean is that we already have the media on the left. So you could probably upload a JS file as a media and then reference the file.
Yes, and you could build a media field
also
on top
inside
of
the settings, yes.
Exactly.
In the things.
And here is an example, simple image gallery, which is opening some simple gallery. We can pick the image. And in general, you could replace the logic and use what we already have inside Media app.
Can you include resources, like defined resources by name? Like, for example, if you want jQuery, well, already have it registered. Can you just specify jQuery? And
no.
You need a different syntax. What you could use as, because you see the tilde slash, which I assume if you detect tilde slash, will say, okay, let's link to this file. Otherwise, you say it's a content, but maybe you should also say like hash and the name of a resource, like hash jQuery : 1.9.
I would go one step further, and I'll say just have a drop-down menu that display all the resources, that known resources, and then you can just say add this resource, this resource, this resource. This way you don't have to add anything. I think it might be helpful to do that.
Yes, I have another idea, because currently it's a work in progress, but I've built something which is a copy existing configuration. Right now you can reuse already defined editor, dynamic editor from other content types, but what's in progress right now, it's a kind of, let's say, repo of dynamic fields. So I wanted to end up with a kind of list with fetched possible dynamic fields from, let's say, some URL, very similar to how NuGet or NPM works. So you will have an endpoint which will serve a list of possible dynamic fields, and once you will pick one, it will be loaded automatically. And also maybe this list can be hidden, because maybe you don't want to mess up with existing field. You just want to use something which was prepared by dev. So this is another idea, and this way we could hide all those resources and code and just have this preview. But as I said, it's a work in progress. For now, foundation for this dynamic field was created. There are a few quite nice additions here, because when you place many fields with the same dynamic editor, you could end up with plenty of the same resources fetched. That's why I've implemented something which should prevent such situations. And I will try to show you how it works. Oh, sorry, maybe let's use this one, because I already have a few the same dynamic fields. And if we will check what's inside, it's called hash. I'm not sure where we go. Oh, see, here we have. It's called hash, and based on that hash, scripts are compared, so I can avoid to injecting same script twice. Other than that, sometimes the order of scripts is important. That's why inside the editor you can also find those small arrows. Sorry, I'm jumping a bit, but I wanted to show you. Let's here we have those arrows, so you can change the order. It's almost the same what we already have in .NET, which is depends on. There we can use order by resource name. Here we can specify the order by placing each resource in correct place.
I have a comment. So what I suggest you do here, you mentioned that you want to have like some sort of repository for like common fields that you want to reuse. What another idea you might be able to do is have a two option here, whether it's edit one or import. Like you can import, and then instead of having a repository, you can just share a JSON or something, a template where the user can just copy that template and put it here and import it. And the import will add the resources, will add everything for them, but they don't have to do it themselves. So if I want to have some fancy field that I want to share with everyone else, I can just do it by sharing, you know, this template, and then they can just copy and paste it, and they're done. The other way is to show the editor, which is what you're seeing here. This would be the editor. If you know what you're doing, then you can just use its editor. Other than that, so that way you don't have to try to, you know, connect to a server and find what's available. I think it's just that's overcomplicated things, and I think it's easier if you can maybe tell people that, hey, I have a repository of common fields that you can go and look whichever one you want, and you can copy it.
But Mike, you can already share your custom dynamic fields, because I've implemented this way, so you can export it as a recipe. I have already example recipe, which is called dynamic fields recipe.
When you say
then
JSON,
you don't need,
because the storage of the dynamic field is the JSON you want to share and save, right?
Exactly. So here we have code, resources, position, hash, if it's inline or not, source, type, everything is in place. So you just need to go here to recipes. You can import dynamic fields recipe by creating run, and it should be imported. Other idea is to use plans, so you can use export. Here I already prepared something. I can export dynamic fields examples, which is my content type, and this content type already have all those example dynamic fields. But you can create another field, add quite new one, new field, and you can put your content, editor content to the field, and then you can export it and share with others. As you can see,
if you already have that, I wouldn't go and try to connect to like a server where you can select from. I think it's if this is going to stay in your project, Now, my other question is that, do we want this in Orchard, or is this going to be like a separate project?
It has to be a separate project because it's too open. So what's interesting here is that it's a dynamic thing, but you provide 15 different examples. And why not just have static fields for these 15 different examples? Because they might be very useful for users as static fields that has dynamic fields. So it's easy for someone to extend it, to do things quickly and to try things like JavaScript. You don't have to debug, to restart, whatever. But once it's there, I mean, just create a static field. And I don't know, I don't see otherwise on production the value of having a dynamic thing like this, which is super scary because then you can inject anything from any script from,
That's true, but the purpose of this feature is for developers to speed up a bit prototyping and create, as you said, first maybe dynamic field, which you can use in your project, and then turn it into a static field.
You could even have a button to generate the C# code. Oh, this is now your field. Give it a name, and here is the module that you can, the project and everything.
I think having dynamic field structure in Orchard makes sense to me, but not have like more than that. Like you don't want to have like connecting to a gallery or whatnot, but having a field where you can attach resources to it, attach JavaScript, attach code. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to have it, because if you can inject, if you're worried about that, well, people can already inject HTML and script.
Yeah, we have templates, we have things like
exactly.
Yeah, to me, it's the same thing as templates. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's actually a good thing to add a dynamic field, support in Orchard with a bare minimum. And then if someone wants to, they have their own reusable fields that they always use, then they can do their own thing and have like their own gallery. But I think it's not a bad idea to actually consider putting this dynamic field thing in Orchard directly.
Do we have, what's the permission we set to edit templates for the feature?
What is it?
Permission. We have a permission to be able to edit templates. And I think we should have the same, probably sensitive permission to create or edit dynamic fields.
Yeah, sure. But it's if someone is able to define content type and able to change parts, I mean, that's, you would think the same level.
Not really. For the things where we can inject custom JavaScript, yes, but when you edit the text field, you can't inject custom. Well, now you can with your pattern. Now we have to make it safe. So actually it's wrong. Is it? I have to check now.
Yeah. So the question is, do you agree that we should put the dynamic fields in Orchard with limitation?
Yeah, it could be a good idea to have a thing like this, but it's very niche and it will be a dev thing. Not sure it should be enabled by default or visible like this. It will be complicated. People will be confused. You will not, Mike, but I think
content fields .dynamic maybe
a
new project.
Whatever the name is, just like it's dynamicity inside something which is dynamic CMS. It's always an issue. It's hard to understand, right? How it works in the end. Not for you, David or Mike, because you do that all day long, but that could be So I mean it's fine. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I also show you because Dynamic Field also have support for GraphQL and SQL Server. SQL databases. So here you can check how it looks like. There are two values inside each field. It's raw and value. Value, it's everything what you define in your dynamic field. Raw, it's serialized JSON and it's a string simply. When we jump into queries, you can also query
So you create a custom table.
Yes, and here we have this small tiny button or checkbox, index raw value. Once checked, only the value of the editor is stored in database. Once it's not checked, we can store every possible sub-item. So let's find our example. Sorry. Here we have this latitude, longitude values with information about the type. So you can query each field from your dynamic fields. But the thing is that all those values are stored as a text because we need to have a single type in databases.
I remember seeing that in the PR or whatever code I saw, and it's getting complicated because here you are losing data and all the event handlers we have, all the things you will do by code, now you have to find a dynamic way of doing that.
But if you don't need to index data, you just
don't need.
to
if
use
you
it.
don't need. But people, at some point, someone will say, "Oh, I need this value for my search engine, which is Elasticsearch, and only accepts integers and not text for it." No, something, right? And then you're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't use dynamic field." But I've been using and I have all my data like this, and it's now limited, and you didn't understand the limitations, and that's a risk. That works sometimes until the data doesn't work for a user, and they are like, "Oh crap! Now I have to migrate to a static field and do content migration of all my content items," which is impossible. Like the amount of work to migrate, that's these kind of issues that will bite someone, if not us, to maintain the thing. The false promises because, oh, it's a field, it's supported, it's like everything. Oh no, it's not, because GraphQL won't work the same way for these things. Or we have to duplicate the data. Or yeah, it's hard.
Yes, I agree. Maybe it's not the best
There are some
feature.
limitations. Yes, there are some limitations, but
Exactly. I've added it for fun, just for fun.
it's great. But if the risk is that someone starts using it without understanding the limitations until it's too late, and or something we didn't expect, or we like to not work, and then we realize, oh, it's not working. Now we have to find a way for it to make it work. That's the issue. So, yeah, maybe it should live by itself in a repo for now, just for people to try it and to start loving it, and then to see what the issues are, so we can decide to include it. The idea is great. It's just the risk associated to that and all the feature set. And that's great to make the SQL. But yeah, you have a custom table for that now because you don't know the type of each property, so you can't map to existing SQL tables that we have for indexing these fields. Or you will need even more data in your dynamic field to describe that, even more dynamicity. But that's cool. That's a nice idea.
Thank you.
I suggest after, see if you can figure out this last issue that came up right now. And if you can, I would say try to abstract as much as you can into a new project where we could potentially put it into Orchard. And if you want to pursue something else like a gallery or whatnot, keep that into a second project, because I don't think we would include that.
Mm-hmm.
But
there is no code for gallery. It's only inside the recipe as an example. So there's no code for any of those dynamic fields. Everything is only inside content types. So actually,
cool.
I don't need to exclude anything, only those examples JS, and that's it.
Good. Yeah, looks good. Good job.
When
Thank
did
you.
we talk about being able to use JavaScript to map the content item to a search index? We mentioned that recently. Again, I would say 10 years ago, but also recently. Maybe because of Mike, when you refactored something for search engines.
I don't remember.
That would be a good possibility here, such that on top of your field, you need another setting that says run this JavaScript to create the thing to index in SQL or in an index search, such that you can, based on the content item or the field JSON, the stored JSON content, you can then project it to a JavaScript object that will contain the properties and values, typed values that have to be indexed for GraphQL, for SQL, for the index. a way to expose the things that we do in code today in C#. But it's moving all the code to the UI. That's always risky. It's not just a template here. It's code. And it's not just liquid. So that's hard. That's doable. It's a CMS in a CMS. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, David.
Welcome.
All right.
Who's next?
Ready
Mike.
for a quick demo?
All
right, let me see. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what I did here, I did a quick demo right now just to test out or to show you how the templating work. I created a content type called vehicle. And then to that vehicle, I added a VIN number field and then a stock number field. And then I just added the title. There's really nothing here. I just want to show you real quick. So if you refresh, that's it. It's just a common content type. So here you can put 1, 2, 3 and publish it, and nothing have changed. So now you have a scenario where you say, okay, well, I don't want the stock number to be open field. I want to use the last 6 digit of this VIN number always. That's a rule. So now you can go about that by going to the stock number, which is the field. You hit edit to edit the settings, and you'll see this type. This is the new field that was added. And as you can see, by default is editable, which is why we're able to put the value 1, 2, 3 in it. Now you're able to see 2 other options. So you can say generated hidden or generated disabled. For now, I'm going to do generated disabled. So this way we can actually see the value, but we can't change it. And just before this demo, I actually added the pattern. So as you can see here, this pattern field shows up and allow you to put liquid syntax. So in this case, I just said, hey, go look at the VIN number and slice it so I can only have the last 6 digit. Now I'm going to do save. If I go back to my edit form and if I hit refresh, now you're going to see that this right here is disabled. Disabled, I can't change it. If I hit continue to publish it, we're expecting the value here to change. As you can see, this have changed. Now it's the last 6 digit of this VIN number. And the reason why it changed it, because when I published it, it was able to understand that this is a generated pattern. And so we'll go ahead and apply it during the save and save it. So it's the same thing you can do if you're doing a hidden. It's the same thing. The only difference is just we can't see it now. So it goes away, but if you save it, it's still going to save 1, 2, 3. Or the last 6 digit, and to prove it, it should be here. Yeah, right there. You see, it's a hidden field with the last 6 digits of that number. And if we want to, for kicks and giggle, we can just do last 8.
Can you remove model dot?
Model dot here?
Model
Can
dot.
you? I think you might be able to.
Because I look at the code and I'm confused. Yeah, thank you.
So here, let's refresh and let's change it. Yep, and so now we have the last 8 digit of the code because we just changed the pattern to read the last 6. So that's really all to it. It's just that you're able to say, I want to generate this field, which is the same exact thing we do today with a title field. If you click on a title part, if I click on my title part, I can do the same thing today. Here, its title is editable. You can change it to disabled or hidden, and then you can put a pattern. So it's the same exact mechanism, but now we also have it for the text field. And here again, so it's right here. That's it. Questions, comments?
What if the title uses the stock number?
Say that again.
What if the title pattern using the stock number.
The title uses a what number?
Stock number.
Oh, stock number. I think it
One
might
will
be.
work, not the other. There is an. It's not. Yeah.
It's a race condition. I think it just. I think the title part. The parts are going to be computed. It should work. Well, no, it won't work.
I mean, one of the fields will be able to use the value of the other. We don't know which one.
Well,
Yes.
I think the parts are
We
done
had this
first,
issue
and then the
in the
fields.
past, yeah.
I think. So maybe, and now the question: what if two fields reference each other? One will work, not the other.
No,
But
they
in-
will work. I'll tell you why. No, they both actually will work. I'll tell you why, especially if you're using the UI, because the UI, we populate the value using the display driver, and then we call the events. So the handler comes after the
Yes.
UI captures the data, so it will always work.
But still, what I mean is that here you have a fields list, and this list is ordered. You can only use from one field another generated value if it was evaluated before. So it will work only in the order of the fields that are displayed.
You see now the stock number, the title is reading
So
from the
for the
stock number.
parts and the
No,
fields, yeah,
but
that
if
might
you
be.
use the stock number directly,
So here, another one. Okay, so we're gonna do text field. And this one uses, you want this one to use, let me just copy the pattern.
Right here. You say, no, here. Go back to edit. And you add content item.content.vehicle dot the other field dot text. Keep the Vim text. Keep the common part.
Oh, I called it another, not other.
You need to keep a common part from the Vim. This one you keep. But then you add on the right the other field's value. So content item. So you keep that, and then you inject. Not here. No, not here. You can, yeah, after the braces, yeah. You inject another one, which is, yeah, like this. Which is just the value of the field, like another, which one is this one?
That's
yeah.
the
And you can remove slice, whatever, you just want the full value, just to see how it's behaving. And you do the same thing for the other, but you point to the other field instead, just to see which one includes the other one.
And then
Only
go
one
here.
will work. Yeah.
Oops, now go on the other one. Sorry.
There is another, and there is stock number. Okay.
And then what do you want to put here?
Stock number instead of another.
Is it stock number?
I think, yeah. So another is able to inject from stock number, but stock number can inject another. And you added another after stock number. That would explain why.
So we have another.
But that's, I mean,
So
it's just for fun, right? We can't expect it to work like, or we would have to define a graph of dependency graph to know which one to evaluate first and then reevaluate, and it's crazy.
Well, we know it's not throwing exception.
I did not expect. I'm sure it's totally fine. It's just that we are enumerating the fields, right, for a part.
Yeah.
So in this case, the types part, we are enumerating first field, second field, third field, and we call the handlers. So when we call the first handler, then it evaluates a pattern, it has a value. If it depends on another field value, then it will be evaluated only later. So no, we can't access that. So that's fine. It's just for fun. I didn't expect it to blow. Yes, there are some limitations to this kind of things. It's not magic, right? So that's good. I mean, that's good. Something I wanted to comment on, though, in the settings, the UI is really not good. Like it's called type editable. I'm like, what does type means? What does editable mean? Like, so it needs some hints, and another type is wrong. I think type, everything is a type. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
It needs some work here and some hints, even for the values, like explaining what it does, because it's not obvious to user. That's okay. It will come. That's great.
All right.
Thank you. It's all about fields today. Crazy.
Yeah, at least we are having demos. That's a good thing.
That's great. All good. Questions, comments? Awesome. So Thursday, we are back to triage and on the regular schedule. So see you on Thursday then. Thanks everyone. Thank you, David, for
Thank
the
you,
demo.
thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
See you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.